Okay, I'm here to talk about women and money. Now, I realize in Malaysia, there's many different cultures, many different religions, so some of your beliefs may not agree with all that I'm saying, but let me tell you what's happening today. These are some statistics from the US, and what I'm noticing is even though the numbers may change, the trends are very similar in other countries throughout the world. So here are some very surprising statistics. Number one, 47% of women over the age of 50 are single, meaning most of these women are responsible for their financial well-being. Many of us have heard the divorce rate. 1 out of 2 marriages ends up in divorce. In a divorce, who usually ends up with the children? The women. So she now has to take care of herself and her children. The first year after a divorce, a woman's standard of living drops an average of 45%, while the man's increases 13%. No, men, we don't like that. Of the elderly living in poverty, 3 out of 4 are women, yet 80% of these women were not poor when their husbands were alive. Their husband passes away, they have no idea how to take care of themselves. Next thing you know, Mr. or Mrs. Financial Helper comes along and they are broke. Of baby boomer women, they're saying now that baby boomer women, these are women in their 40s to 60, will outlive men by 15 to 20 years. As it gets younger in age, that number increases. Yet about 58% of female baby boomers have less than $10,000 set aside for retirement. And it's estimated that only 20% of female baby boomers will be financially secure in retirement, which means 80% of us will not. Pretty startling stuff. And what it says to me is so many of us women have not had the financial education. We've actually been taught to depend on somebody else, primarily a husband or a family member, to take care of us. Yet as we get older, so many of us are facing financial crisis. That's why I wrote my book, Rich Woman. And that's why I travel, that's why I speak. Robert and I came up with Rich Woman a few years ago because Robert and I would travel the world, and whether I was in Malaysia or Hong Kong or South Africa or London or LA, same issues with women, same questions. So it really is a universal problem. I'm going to call it a crisis because I'm seeing it happen more and more and more. And the key to the whole thing to me is financial education. My passion is educating women, encouraging women to really start taking charge of their lives, start taking charge of their money, so they no longer have to be dependent, so they can have the life that they want. Yes, I want to have a happy marriage. Yes, I want a happy family life. I just don't want to have to depend on somebody else for that happiness. Clear? Okay. So, I decided many years ago I did not want to be one of those statistics. And so back in 1989, I just mentioned about my first investment. Back in 1989, the market in Portland, Oregon, as I mentioned, my first investment had plummeted. And so as I mentioned, Robert, we moved to Portland, Oregon, and Robert started talking to me about what his rich dad taught him. And I'm looking at these properties. I find this little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, not knowing what in the world I'm doing. And here are the numbers on that property. Finally, once my hands stopped shaking, finally, once I stopped crying, because I was so scared, that house, this is 1989, cost $45,000. I needed a down payment of $5,000, of which I didn't have. And finally, when all was said and done, as I mentioned, it put a whopping $50 a month in my pocket, positive cash flow. So I was on my way. And then from there, I really liked real estate. From there, I bought more single-family homes, then a 6-plex, then a 12-unit apartment building. And all of this we were doing when the market had crashed. it was similar to what's happening today. So when people say, oh, the market's terrible, the market's crashing, don't invest, let me tell you, now's the time to invest with the market coming down. So not only was I had to battle my own fear and my own concerns, but then I had to also listen to all these other people who were not investors telling me why not to invest. Make sense? Hello? Thank you. So I kept investing, and I'm going to say probably the best cash flow property I have today. Actually, you know what, do we have a picture of that first property, that Oregon property? Can we put that up? That's my very first rental property I bought. Cute little house, had a little butterfly on front, but a very cute house. Then I went on, and this is now probably my best building I've bought. It's a commercial building, and can we put that picture up as well? This is a commercial building. It's about 55,000 square foot, single tenant. It's a fitness club. And this I bought a few years ago, but the numbers were a little different. The fundamentals are the same, exactly the same, just as other guys have been saying. The fundamentals are the same. But this property, a little bit more expensive. This property cost $8 million. I had to come up with $1 million, of which I didn't have, of which I've now since gotten back. And this property puts $30,000 a month in my pocket. Okay? Started with a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, kept doing the same thing over and over and over again until I got to this property, now $30,000 a month in my pocket. Same principles, just bigger zeros. Okay? So for me, I love real estate. That was my vehicle for wealth, my vehicle for independence. And I'll tell you, once I really understood the game of investing, once I understood money, I found out something really, really interesting. I found out I no longer needed Robert. I found out I wanted Robert. I wanted him, but I didn't need him. And as a result, our marriage, there was more respect, there was more love, because it was every day we were choosing to be together versus having to be together. Okay? Right. So how many women have read Rich Woman? Few women out there. We will have copies for sale. I will be happy to sign them after today, or today and tomorrow. But as I said, I wrote Rich Woman because I really saw a need for women and for the financial education. But what's interesting is this information is actually more applicable today than ever. When I wrote the book, it was a good idea. Today, I think it's a necessity. And the rules have changed so dramatically that I think women taking charge of their money, women being in control of their lives through their money, is really a must in terms of women being not just financially free, but free totally. So let me talk a little bit about what is a rich woman and what isn't a rich woman. The ultimate rich woman, in my opinion, is a woman named Oprah Winfrey. You know Oprah? All right. Great woman, great woman. In 2000, Robert appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show with the Rich Dad book and the Rich Dad philosophies. And it was a really interesting experience. We went to the studio. There was the stage with 2 chairs, one for Oprah, one for Robert. They were taping the interview. And in the breaks, Oprah would take questions from the audience. And I'll never forget it. There was this one question. This woman is in the back and she's going, Mr. Kiyosaki, I have a question. Robert says, yes, what's your question? I have $10,000. What should I do with it? Oprah stands up, pushes Robert aside and says, I'll handle that. And she looked at this woman and she said, young woman, what in the world are you doing asking somebody else what to do with your money? Get yourself educated. And I'm like, whoa. And Oprah has a presence. And when Oprah speaks, you listen. So she is a huge advocate for women, a huge advocate, and really about women being financially responsible as well as personally responsible for their lives. Now, another woman who really summed up the whole rich woman message better than anybody is a woman named Katharine Hepburn. And Katharine Hepburn said, women, if you're given a choice between money and sex appeal, take the money. Because as you get older, your money becomes your sex appeal. And how true is that? So let's talk just a second about what is not a rich woman. Okay. A woman who has money, is she necessarily a rich woman? Hello? No, she has money. A woman that marries for money, is she a rich woman? Hello? No, she might have money, but we all know what she did to get there. Good examples, Anna Nicole Richie, married for money. Heather Mills, Paul McCartney's ex, married for money. Don't tell me there wasn't a plan there. There was a plan there. So in my opinion, a woman that marries for money is basically, in my opinion, she's the biggest ripoff to women in the world. She's basically saying, I cannot take care of myself. I have to have somebody else take care of me, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to have a rich man marry me so I can be taken care of because I am helpless. Pisses me off, excuse my language. Not a rich woman. Now, here's another take. You tell me if this is a rich woman or not a rich woman. Here's the story. Dan was a single guy living at home with his father and working in the family business. When he found out that he was going to inherit a fortune when his sickly father died, he decided he needed a wife with which to share his fortune. One evening at an investment meeting, he spotted the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Her natural beauty took his breath away. He said, I may look just like an ordinary man, he told her, but in just a few years my father will die and I'll inherit $65 million. Impressed, the woman obtained his business card, and 3 days later, she became his stepmother. Is she a rich woman? No, but she's a very clever woman. I'll give her that. I'll give her that. So the rich woman message actually really, it is more important today. It's more applicable today than ever. So we actually went out on the street and we asked women, given these economic times, what are you doing differently financially in your life? So I'll tell you what they said. We went out to the street and we just asked women, what are you doing differently today given this economy and given this environment? And basically what they all said is, I'm cutting back, I'm pinching my pennies, I'm cutting coupons, I'm taking the bus, I am moving from a house to an apartment. Every woman that we asked said, I am cutting back, I'm contracting. Is that a rich woman? No. A rich woman doesn't cut up her credit cards. A rich woman loves her credit cards. I love my American Express. I love my Neiman Marcus card. A rich woman does not forego her lattes. Not our style. A rich woman creates the income to afford her the lifestyle that she wants and desires. How many women want that? Great. And let me ask the men here in this group, how many of the men here today support the women in their lives becoming rich women? All right. All right. You got some fans out there, women. Right. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you. Thanks for the support to the women, and thank you for being here. Let me just share a little bit about some of the... Oh. No, let's let it go. Thank you. Thank you. They got it working. But let me just share some of the rich women I know and what they're doing today. One woman is a woman named Sarah, and Sarah doesn't make a lot of money. She makes maybe $25,000 to $30,000 a year. And she just bought her very first rental property in Arizona and is making $100 a month cash flow off of that one property, and now she's looking at her second property. So here's a woman not making a lot of money, but she realizes that she needs to start doing something to generate that cash flow. So that's Sarah. Another friend of mine, her name is Kim, happens to be Kim, and what Kim does is her specialty is taking people's products to the market. So she'll find somebody with a good product, and she has the avenue to take it to market. And so what she discovered now in this economy, women are getting laid off and women are looking for new income sources. So she's now got a niche encouraging women with their inventions, with their creations, to work with her, and she takes them to all the home shopping networks, takes them to the commercial outlets, retail outlets. So a couple of women right here that are doing something based on this economy today who aren't sitting back going, oh, woe is me, what am I going to do? I'm losing everything. These women are out there, again, expanding their means. When I see women who want to, anybody for that matter, who wants to cut back, who wants to contract, who wants to pull back, the price is your spirit. What is the price of your spirit? Is your spirit a cheap spirit? Does your spirit want to be poor? I think your spirit wants you to have everything that you want in life. Same as God, same as Great Spirit. They're here for an abundant world, not a world of, sorry, we got to turn off the sun today because we're running out of light. You know, it's a very abundant God. It's in a very abundant spirit. So I look at that, and if at times you want to pull back, just look, what is the cost of your spirit? Because I believe rich women, anybody, really wants their spirit to soar, wants their spirit to come out. And that's what the whole Rich Woman message is about, is bringing out that spirit in you so that you can have what you want in life. So with that, I want to bring out one other rich woman to share her story and what she's doing, because oftentimes one of the major questions